all. So yes, several people are jumping on right now. That's great. Anyhow, my plan is to kind of divide this into two sections.
Who?
If everybody will,
Which is Deanna?
mute,
Okay. Yeah.
everybody needs to mute theirs so that there's no background noise. Anyhow, I'm going to begin by having you be my students so that you can understand when you're using Nearpod with your students, what they see on their screen. And then the second part, and we only have an hour, is that I will have you be in your Nearpod account, and I'll show you how to create and edit and all sorts of things. So
Still haven't merged my accounts that I have.
okay, so now we'll go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen and all. So if all of you will just stay on mute. But let me say, if you have a question that you would like to ask during this, don't hesitate to do that. I still have some people that need to mute because I'm happy to stop and answer any question at any point. So let me get into my Nearpod account, and here we go. So what you should see on your screen right now is I'm in my Nearpod account, and this is my Nearpod library. Now yours.
Oh my God, yes. Can you get these to Ms. Richards?
I'm still trying to mute some people, and if you can mute yourself, that would be great. So these are lessons that I have in my account that, and then I have been using this since almost the very beginning. And so up here I have folders, and these folders are what I have used to better organize myself. And so we'll come back to your library and all in just a little bit. Okay. If anybody's not muted, please mute. All right, I'm going on. I may be shouting over some background noise, but we're going on.
They're always complaining. I'm telling them it's not our fault. Check your internet.
Okay, I'm trying. If somebody realizes they haven't muted, please do so, or somebody send them a message. So what I want you to be on is nearpod.com, and they're on their homepage. There's a banner there that says join. And you, this is what your students will do. They will join a Nearpod when you send them a code. And the code is always 5 letters. It is not case sensitive. And so you should be nearpod.com. There's a couple of places where it says join. Type in CTIVB. Now, this is because you're a high school and you have different, period 1, period 2, so forth. My suggestion always is that you launch, even if it's the same lesson, a new presentation with each class, which means you would be giving each class a different code. And the reason for that is that in your reports, you would like to see how your students in period 1 did, how your students in period 2 did. You don't want them all commingled together, okay? So hopefully you all have gotten on and you've put in your name and all. So on your screen, I am the teacher, and this is a live presentation. And we're going to talk about later the difference between a live presentation and a student paced. And you will probably be doing both. And since you're in we're all in this virtual teaching environment and all. So in the live paced, my lesson is still the same, but I am in charge. I am driving the lesson. And so I see about 5 of you are on. If some of you are just
It's on it was an email that was sent from Jackie on the,
No, I mean, where is it on your computer when you want to
Okay.
use it?
let me,
I don't know. Under,
okay, we need somebody having a conversation to be on mute. If you're just coming on and wondering how to get with us, you need to go to
Is
I
it
think you have to go for some- she's got-
I know, I
nearpod.com.
turned the speaker.
Nearpod.com.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, you have to go.
Okay, I'm going to, okay. All right, I can mute some people. And put in the letters CTIVB. So I only have 5 people on at this point, which is nice for me, the teacher, to know exactly how many my students are on with me. If you can't get on or you're not sure how to do it, you can just still follow me through the Zoom lesson as we do this. Not a
Joan,
problem.
can you give that code one more time, please?
Yes, it is CTIVB. Cat, toy, icicle. V is in variety, and B, CTIVB, not case sensitive at all. And this may happen to you. You may have students sign on late when you're starting a lesson and all. And so for me, I have the code always on my screen up in the top left-hand corner. Now, also as a teacher, I can, move my screen backwards and forwards. So I like being in charge. So I'm retired. I worked for a fairly large district outside of the Dallas area, and I'm a certified level 3 Nearpod trainer. And I will tell you, I have been using Nearpod, I think, since its birth, and they've made so many fantastic improvements and all that it is one of my favorite resources. Now, on your screen, do you have what do you have on your screen? Because I'm getting a face that's not happy. Can someone that's on just unmute and tell me what you're seeing? It should be a Google form. And you can embed Google Forms and all. And this one is very simple. It's asking for your email and your name, because afterwards I'm going to be sending additional resources to you, but I also will send them to the person, Jacqueline, and she can always, or Jackie, can forward this to you and all. So now in your teaching high school, this is one of the real tools that you will want your students to use. And on your screen up in the top right corner, you see an icon that's like a pencil and paper. And so click on that, and then it says, how do you want to save your notes? You want to have them saved by using sent to your email, saved to your Google Drive, or saved to OneDrive. And what this means is that your students can take notes as you're going through a presentation, But the other thing, if you have your notes, if you open notes, and even if you just take a comment on one thing, one slide, or just have it open, it means that at the end of the presentation, this presentation and any of the student notes will go directly to the student. The teacher does not see the student notes, but again, this is, for me, the teacher, I do not have that icon. So when I have to remind myself, have the students turn on notes right at the very beginning. Now, anytime you see a slide in this presentation that you'll get later, and there's a downward arrow, that just means there's another slide there. And again, they're usually just reinforcement slides. This is, again, telling you how to turn on notes and how you save those notes. So we're going to be, in an hour, do a lot. But this first thing we're doing right now is I'm taking a poll. I'm asking you to best describe your familiarity with Nearpod. And so go ahead and respond. I love using polls with my students. One, I get 100% participation. I can make my poll on almost any topic. And I'm watching this in real time so that I am getting your responses as they're coming across. And so most of you are choosing C. I've heard of Nearpod. And if you choose B, I've used Nearpod a few times. And some of you may think, I'm not even sure what Nearpod is. But the nice thing about a poll, I get immediate data. This really tells me, okay, I've got information. And when I do this with students, they love to see the results because it is building a pie chart. And so I could share this pie chart out and students would see the results and all. So you'll be seeing how to add the poll activity into your lessons. So this just shows you what I was seeing. So everybody was responding in real time. It was building this pie chart, as I said, and I could have just clicked on that share button and sent it to, so all of you could have looked at the data. So Nearpod it's a presentation tool, but what makes it a lot better than, say, just a plain PowerPoint or such is that it's very interactive. And they have built such a library of lessons that are already there. There are over 8,500 lessons. And you're going to find that the Nearpod library is actually going to become your new best friend, because you can take lessons already created and make them your own by editing. And so everything will be graded that can be graded. And again, one of the strong points is that you're going to have, your students are all going to become involved in the lesson. Now, this next is a video. And as the teacher, I always get this pop up and it says, where would you like the video to be played? And you have a choice between all devices or this device only. Well, when I had students face to face, if I wanted to, I could let them each watch on their own. But right now, I'm going to play this on this device only. So what Nearpod has in this presentation, and as I said, you'll be getting this, are some very short videos, and that will help you review what we do today. So all I have to do is click on the video.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every lesson interactive. Launch lessons your students can't wait to join with collaborative, engaging activities like virtual reality, simulations, and gamified quizzes. As the teacher, you'll always know where your students are with Nearpod's formative assessments, including polls, open-ended questions, draw-its, and more. Get started with what you already have. Upload any of your favorite resources, PowerPoints, Google Slides, and videos, including directly from YouTube. Then, add in media and formative assessment in a few clicks. And now you can add questions directly into videos to make them interactive. Get started even faster with our library of pre-made lessons and videos, built in partnership with some of your favorite brands. You can use them as is or customize to meet the unique needs of your students. Once you're ready to launch your lesson, choose from 3 teaching modes. In live participation mode, you control the pace and students participate on their devices, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. In student-paced mode, students move through and participate on their own, whether they're working from home or in class working in centers, stations, or groups. With front-of-class mode, you can use Nearpod without student devices and facilitate collaborative discussions. Imagine what you can do with Nearpod. Your students will love lessons that combine engaging media with collaborative ways for them to show off how much they've learned. You'll love unlocking student understanding in real time and having reports to inform the next day's instruction. You'll wonder how you taught without it. Learn more and get started for free at nearpod.com.
Okay, so that was just a short video just to give you an overview. And what we're going to do now, this was a lesson that I did a number of years ago in PowerPoint. It's on predator and prey. And so you're going to see how a PowerPoint lesson became an interactive Nearpod lesson. And so right now, this is another tool. It's saying, draw a picture of what you think a predator would look like. And so there are some drawing tools there at the bottom. And I want you to just, there's more colors than black. And that's about all I tell the students about the drawing tools. They figure it out very quickly. And again, I am seeing your drawings in real time. It used to be I had to wait till you finished and then you would submit and then I would see them. But now I see them as you're drawing. So everybody go ahead and draw a picture of what you think a predator is. So in this lesson, I was doing a pre-assessment to find out what the students might think a predator was and all. Now, this, the drawing activity 1, it's very creative. And again, all your students will get involved. Oftentimes, I have to put a timer on this slide activity because you know, they get real busy with the drawing and they want to change things and such. So many of the
Excuse me, I'm gonna jump in. Ms. Gore, I have a quick question, please. This is David. It's related to this task and also the earlier one. I was trying to do the survey you had put up earlier and now this drawing. How does it access the drawing tools? Is whenever I go to it, there's just a hand that just sort of keeps trying to grab it.
Is it, okay, down at the, you see the drawing tools, you're just having a hard time clicking on it?
I might see that. It's just all I see is my name. It says awaiting drawing. And whenever I go to there, it just has a little glove or a hand that is sort of like moving to grasp it, but I can't really do anything.
Okay, what kind of device?
Survey, I tried clicking, but I wouldn't take any action.
Okay, what kind of device are you on? Just.
I'm on the school district issued laptop.
Okay, okay. Let me, because everybody else seems to be able to, anybody else having that problem? Okay, nobody else is speaking up. Okay.
I'm having difficulty.
Huh? Okay, I'm going to have another drawing activity come up here in just a minute, right after this, shortly. And let me see if it happens both times, okay? Because usually you just pick your tool and start drawing. So let's see it's in a couple of slides, if it resolves itself, okay? If not, we'll come back and look at it again. So I'm not avoiding your answer. I just can't. Usually the draw it tool, it works pretty easily. Okay, so what I'm seeing, and go ahead and finish and hit submit, because you do your drawing and then you have to hit submit. And again, this is an activity that oftentimes you have those students that never respond in class or speak up or all, but maybe this is a time you get to recognize one of your students that falls in that category because they've done a wonderful drawing. So I might find this drawing and Giselle, I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but you're a very good artist. And I could send it out so all of the students could see it. Or maybe I've asked them to draw something and I want all the other students to see what I'm looking for. So I might share it out if a student does that. So as I said, and we'll keep an eye on everybody's drawing tool. Now, at this point, I'm telling you, go ahead and submit because I'm going on. And if students don't submit, these drawings will not show up in reports. And I love, I've got a great alligator, Jeremy, that you're doing. I know you'd like to finish it, but we do need to move on, okay? So go ahead and submit and all. Now that's one way to use the draw it tool. And this is what I was seeing. I was seeing these drawings as they were coming up. And it was yellow down here if they were still drawing and green if they have submitted. And so this is just part of the lesson. This is just a slide. This was my definition. And this is a different way to use the draw it, because you can convert just a slide with text on it to convert it to a draw it slide. So in this, I'm asking you to circle the predator in each sentence. And this might be circling verbs, whatever. So now I'm doing a quick formative assessment to see if my students have gotten the idea and understand what a predator is. Okay, who was it that was having trouble? David, was that you? Somebody was, is everybody able?
You could say, I guess I'm having trouble, is that whether the survey and the drawing in this one here, I don't know if there's supposed to be drawing tools available, if I'm supposed to click on where my name is in that area, but I'm getting the same thing here, just a little hand that sort of looks like it's grassy in the air. And now, yeah.
Okay, so it did not, yeah, so you should be able on the drawing tools just to, click on it and pull the tool up and start.
And I'm going to ask where, maybe that's the thing is I'm just kind of slow. Where would drawing tools be located?
It should be down in the bottom left-hand side.
Bottom left hand. Okay. Okay. All right.
Are you seeing your whole screen?
To my knowledge, yes, I'm on full screen, but I don't see any, but I don't want to hold up the rest of the progress. So I'll,
well, okay, David, let me just tell you, afterwards or sometime, soon, get with somebody or do a lesson and run it and also as a student so that you can see. And I'm sorry because it's really such a fun activity that you can't do it. So yeah, it's hard. That's the thing it's hard for me to do much more troubleshooting than that. So this is what I was seeing, is to circle the predator. And if everybody was getting this, I mean, quickly, I see what the whole class has done. And can, you know, if everybody's getting it, I can move on. If not, then I need to reteach. This is part of the 3D images. There's quite a few. Of course, this the shark everybody likes. And I guess in Florida, you all are quite familiar with these creatures. But there's a lot of great 3D images that in Nearpod on cardiovascular system, the auditory system and such. Now, this is a very quick quiz. It is one question. You could have a quiz that is 25 questions. So go ahead and answer this one question and all. Again, as the teacher, when the quiz is being given, I'm going to be seeing the results as you answer. And it's also building me a pie chart just like it did in the poll. And if I get it, if it's mostly green, then I know, yes, everybody's is understanding. If it's mostly red, again, I need to reteach. So a quiz is very easy to add into your Nearpods. And as I said, you can do a lot more than just one question. So I'm going on. And as I said, this is what I was seeing. B was the right answer, so it was coming up. Mary Poppins wasn't paying attention, and you see I have my chart over here to quickly tell me the level of understanding. Now, this is a Collaborate board, different from taking a poll, but a very useful tool. And I get a pop-up, just like I did on the video, and the pop-up says, would you like to approve student comments before they are posted? Well, you teach high school. So you may want, you may think, I probably need to look at what they say before I allow them to show up on the board that everybody can see. I'm going to say no, because you're adults and I trust you. But my question is, search for a picture of a prey, add it to the Collaborate board, and describe your animal. Now, you should have down at the bottom of the screen, now I'm talking about a prey, not a predator. You would think, oh, what is a prey? And you would just start typing, and you would say, rabbit is a prey. Prey because, and I'm typing in Swedish, but right over here in that same box, there's a little icon. It looks like it's a landscape icon. I click on that and it takes me to Google Images. And so I want to find an image of a rabbit, because that's what I'm talking about. So I get all these cute images, I save it, and I then hit post and post it. Okay, so mine is popped up and you see how I'm responding, how I responded. So again, Collaborate board is a great way to get all your students to share their thoughts and all. And if somebody should, even if you have approved them, but something gets by you and there's an inappropriate comment, there's a little trash can right up here and you can click on it and that gets shows that it has been deleted. All right. And so here, Laura has done an earthworm as a prey to birds, and I can share these out and such. And again, I can put a timer. So Collaborate boards, teachers tend to use them a lot, mainly to get input from all of their students. This is what I was seeing. The post with information. You can see here's a card that was deleted. Now also, this will be something you may or may not remember, but when you start using Nearpod, you might notice down at the bottom, it's at the very bottom, it tells me I could hide student names. So sometimes I'm sharing and I want to share, but I don't want to embarrass anybody. So I might hide student names. And this just goes on about what a prey is. This is an open-ended question. And so can an animal be both a predator and a prey? Explain your answer. So just type something in there so I start seeing some responses. Now, a quiz will be graded for you and will be in your reports, and you'll see how each student did. An open-ended question, it's not going to be graded because there's no right or wrong answer. But it's very quick for you to look through them, the responses, and see how each student is answering. Right now, I'm seeing your responses. Not everybody has responded, but that's okay. Because it's telling me that only 24% participation. So again, it's very not easy for me to see, are all my students with me? Are they all participating? And I have a share button by each of your names. And so if someone really nails it and I want to share it with all the class for some class discussion, I can share that out to them. Again, I could hide the student's name so that they don't know who gave that response. So open-ended questions, a very strong tool. You have students have a lot of room there to respond to an open-ended question. And again, this is what I was seeing. And like Mary Poppins really did a great job. So I could share her response with the whole class if I wanted to. You may not have heard of Microsoft Sway. I say it's kind of like PowerPoints on steroids. But one of the ways you can add additional content to a Nearpod is to bring in a Microsoft Sway. This one is on endangered species. I did not do it. I just found it as one of my options. And so it's very nicely done, and I'm just gliding down through it. So just remember, if you have a Sway as part of your content, to give your students, if it's live participation, plenty of time to read through all of this. Take some notes on it, because you can see the images are great. And when I get to this is like a stack of cards, and your students can click through this stack and read about additional information on animals that have been endangered or may be endangered and such. And so sways are just very nice way to add more content without any work on your part. This is matching, and just go ahead and start matching the word with the definition. You create your own matching activity. You can match text to text, image to image, text to image, or whatever. So it can be, vocabulary words and definitions. It could be a math problem with the math answers to match to. It could be, if you're studying presidents of the United States, it could be images to text. What I'm seeing as you are working on this is that how many tries it might take you to make all of these matches. So if I have that class, that kid that kind of likes to goof off, and it takes him 25 times to make 8 matches, then I know that he's just not really trying and all. So you see that you are doing your the matching and all, and how they are doing. You can review the pairs, whatever. So here's what I was seeing, that there were 9 cards to match up and how many tries. And you can see Oprah was kind of lazy about paying attention. Now, this is the virtual VR. That again, this is all part of Nearpod. And there's a lot of images. They have partnered with 360 cities. And so, you know, this can be moved around. It can be enlarged. If students have iPads, oh my gosh, they just go crazy with this. But I'm just on my trackpad and all. If I had a mouse, I could do a better job of this. But a lot of times I might have a leading question into a virtual VR, asking the students to look for certain things or explain, you know, what is happening in this image and such. So that kind of gives you an idea of the different things that you can do. Now I'm skipping through a lot of these mainly because of time. And this is just was the results of another Collaborate board, but without images, just with text. So as I said, you're going to get this as one of your resources afterwards. And remember, when you see that, it just gives you more information or reinforcement. Your students do not have a Nearpod account, just the teacher. And so when you are in your Nearpod account, these are some of the main things. This, anytime you see that, that will take you back to your home page. A plus allows you to create a new lesson, add new slides, whatever you need to do. Quick launch is, I really haven't prepared a Nearpod, but I want to all of a sudden in my lesson, I want to do an open-ended question, a draw it, or do a collaborate. And I just do a quick launch and do it right there. And it, if it is, I mean, you'll see the results and all. We're going to go into your profile because it's very important, I think, for certain things to be toggled on or toggled off based on your the teacher. But Nearpod has this partnership with Immersive Reader, and you may have students that they need to have the quizzes read aloud to them and all. And so anytime you see a kind of microphone symbol on a slide, or the student would, they can click on that and it will read the information to them. Okay, so in the library, which we're going to here just shortly, there are, as I said, a lot of lessons, and then just the 1st of August, they added this interactive videos. If you ever did Edpuzzle, you're going to see how much it looks like that, because their videos have embedded questions in there for the students to answer. But you can bring in a video from YouTube, and you can make it interactive by adding your own questions. And you can select by standards for your state as well. So there's different ways to filter. You do not want to look at 8,500, and I'll show you how you filter either by your subject, by your grade level, by your state standards. Again, this is a short video that we're not going to take time to watch, but you can do later as part of a review. Nearpod does a great job of providing resources to the teachers and all. So I'm just kind of moving right on through these. So we'll talk about student-paced versus live participation. Remember, we're doing live participation. But a lot of times, especially you have older students, you don't know what's going on in their homes. Are they having to help their siblings with their lessons? Do they have a part-time job? And so student-paced lessons allows the student to participate at a time that they choose. But you can watch and see if they are doing the lesson or what progress they're making. You can student-paced, you can give them the code for a student-paced lesson on Monday and say you need to have this completed by 8 a.m. Thursday. They get a code just like you did. We'll talk about this toggle requiring student submission. In other words, they can't skip on without doing the activities. I'd be having that turned on. And all. Reports, your reports, several ways to get to them. Everything's graded. You can see how the class did. You can see how the class did on each question. You can see individual reports. You can save them as PDFs and email them if you need to. Here again, you just click on this downward arrow and it's going to tell you, click on this, that'll take you to reports and you find the lesson that you are looking for. I will get a report immediately when I close this lesson on how you have done. This is just another Collaborate board that we're skipping over and all. So those are the main things: searching lessons, launching, and getting to your reports. Okay, this is fill in the blanks. This is a drag and drop. So you just grab the word out of the word bank and you drag it to where the right place. Again, this will be scored for you. You create your own fill in the blanks. And again, this is something I will show you how to do. As I said, we're going on because of our timing on this. Time to climb, we're not going to do, but you can turn any quiz into this game. Students love games. I know some of the high school teachers say, oh, it looks too young for my students, but students like to do games. Nearpod says, just click on the buttons. You're not going to break anything. And that's really true. I've never lost anything and all. So additional resources are going to be sent to you if you filled in that form. If not, I'm sending it to Jackie so that she could forward them to anybody that needs them. This is some of the different things you can do to add content to your lessons. You can add videos, you can add a VR field trip. If you're a math science teacher, the PhET simulations are very good and they're categorized by high school, middle school, elementary. Sway, British broadcasting videos. If you're a math teacher, you have the graphic calculator. You can add a URL to a website inside any of your lessons as well. Very easy to do. Nearpod's active on Twitter, Facebook, and all. There is the Facebook, Nearpod Teachers on Facebook is very active. They're always sharing ideas and such. Nearpod loves to get feedback so that they can improve their lessons and their training and such. We're really getting, short on our time, so I'll give about a minute for this, but you may not get it all filled out. Up here at the top of my screen, I have a little down arrow that says I can end the session and all. So I'm going to go ahead and end the session, and it asks me if I want to do that and all. So now I'm back into my Nearpod library. You are no longer my students, so you should go to nearpod.com and you should be able to launch to log on to Nearpod. As I said, your library is not going to be as populated as mine is, but remember, I've been doing this for a number of years. Now, up here in the right-hand corner is your profile. It's just a little gray circle, probably. Go ahead and click on it. Glide down here to this lesson settings. You can toggle this on, any of this on and off. Here's my, if I know that some of my students need to use the immersive reader, turn it on. Turn on student notes. Do you want your students to be able to, when they're in student pace, to be able to see their results? If you do, turn it on. Do you want your students in live participation be able to resubmit? I have mine turned off. Enable Collaborate board. This is very important to turn on, because if you have a Collaborate board in student paced and this is not turned on, your students cannot respond. Definitely turn this one on. Require student submissions, which means that when they are in their student pace lesson and you have a quiz, they have to do the quiz before. Now, all you have to do is click over here on that Nearpod on the left-hand side, and that takes you back to your library. On the left-hand side, you see there's reports. That's how you get to your reports. But here is your new best friend, Nearpod Library. These are the 8,500 lessons, over 1,000 videos and all. So, I mean, you could, if you had a lot of time, which nobody does, you could look at them all. But let's say, how can I find what I need? I have filters. I can click high school. Quickly, that eliminates all those that were meant for elementary and middle school. If I teach science, and I could add that as a filter. So now I'm filtering down to high school science and all. And so I start, you know, that's a very easy way to search. I can just come up here and you say, what I'm teaching next week, I'm teaching the American Revolution. I can just type in whatever I'm teaching and do a search that way. Okay, so I have all of these, and some of them may look, you know, I don't have the filter for high school on, but I could add that. And now I've got high school American Revolution. So all of these should be tagged for high school and all. So what I do is I think, okay, well, this is just the effects of the American Revolution. That's exactly what I'm teaching. And when you see this, Paul Thiebert, he's a teacher, but his lessons have been vetted by Nearpod. No, teachers can't just throw up lessons. You preview the lesson, see if it's what you need. I hit preview. And I see that in this lesson, there's 15 slides. I know I can add more, my information to it. I can use this. I don't have to start from scratch. I click on Add to my library. Now remember, I was in the Nearpod library. I'm clicking on Nearpod. And now all of a sudden, here is this lesson from Paul Thiebert. It's still in the library, but now that it's here, I can edit. And I click on edit, and I'm just going to edit the lesson. I can duplicate it and edit one and leave the original. So here's Paul's lesson. And, you know, my students really aren't interested in knowing much about Paul, so I'm going to click on this slide and I'm going to delete it. So I can delete any slides that maybe are not part of what we have been studying. But here's the cool part, add a slide. Now, I can add content, I can add activities. So I'm going to come over here and and it's the same for any of these that you want to do. I click on web content. I want to add, I have this great website on the American Revolution that I want to add, which I can't remember what the URL is right now. So I'm just putting espn.com. I always test the link. I do not want any surprises. I want to make sure it goes to the site that I wanted. And so this did, it went right out to ESPN. So I come back here and I say save. That's how easy I can add something, more content into the lesson that someone else created originally. And so when you add a slide anytime, it is going to go to the, this came up, I've never said that, it's been blocked by our content filter. Okay, so I could say, yes, I trust this site and I'm going to save it. Something new, always little surprises. But when you add a new slide, it's going to be at the bottom of all those slides that you saw. And you just take that slide and drag it to where you would like it. So it's down here at the bottom, and I could just drag it. I want it right there. That's where I want it to come up. Add a slide. Vet simulations. I just click on it. I go to high school math. I might pick one. I preview it. I say done. And now it's added into my lesson, and it's down here at the bottom. And a lot of times when I'm adding more content, I don't worry about dragging them to exactly where I would like them until I finish. PDF viewer, if you're an English teacher and you're teaching the Raven, you don't want it chopped up on 3 or 4 slides. You want it as one long document. Save it as a PDF and bring it in that way. But activities is probably what you're most interested in. And so I'm going to activities, but it's the same steps. Open-ended question. I want to add an open-ended question. And so I just enter my question here. Do you think blah, 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 blah. I can add an image. Now, also for open-ended questions, you can toggle on this enable student audio recordings so that you might have students that can respond better orally than just typing. So you can turn that on. So I've added an open-ended question, add a slide, add activities, matching pairs. So I put my instructions here, match the definition to the word. And I say add a pair. Okay, we're studying presidents of the United States. So I'm going to enter text and I'm going to put Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going to add an image. It goes out to Google Images and I type in Abraham Lincoln on purpose and not just Lincoln because I don't want to look at Lincoln cars. And so I find this great picture of Abraham. I save it and bingo. And I've got this little doohickey thing here. I can make it larger. I could keep adding my pairs. As I said, math problems, vocabulary words, whatever. And so you just keep adding. When you've finished and you've got all your pairs, you just hit save. Again, it's going to make me add another one. That's okay. I can add 81 and I can add 9 times 9 equals, and it's done. And I save it. So I'm just adding to an existing one. Quiz is like anything else. and that you type your question here and your answers, and all math people, and click on the pi sign and you'll get a math where you have more math symbols that you can use in your questions. You have to pick a right answer and you save it. Again, you can add a timer if you want to, on your quiz, just give them a limited time to do the quiz, add a slide, add activities. This is the draw it. And so you put your instructions here. Draw a picture of what you did this summer. And you save it. So that's all it is to take on adding a draw it. Now, let's say I had this slide right here. Because remember I had that slide where we circled the predator in each sentence. I choose the slide. Now this convert to draw it has popped up. And it says you are about to create a draw it from this slide. And do you want to keep a copy of the original? Yes or no? It's just, you know, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Now, this is my draw it. Here was the one that was in it. And so when I click on this and open it up, and this is the draw it. And here's where I can add my different instructions. Maybe these are language arts and I want them to underline the verb and circle the nouns. Whatever I need to do on it. But before, they couldn't, because their draw it tools would not show up on their screen where they could do that. Add a slide, add activities. That was the draw it. Collaborate board, very easy. You know, here's the topic, American Revolution. What do you think? Da, 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 da. And I tend to stick with these backgrounds because of the contrast. I just don't think those have enough contrast, but that might be just me. So easy to add a collaborate board, add a slide, add activity. So you see, I'm doing the same thing over and over. A poll is just very simple. You put in, what is your favorite ice cream? And then you give them however many choices, and that's your poll. I want to show you fill in the blank because it's a little bit different. So I'm going to type in here 3 large cities in Texas are Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. Be nice if I, San Antonio. Now, I could type a lot more. I click on, and once I get all my text in here, I hit next, and then I click on the words that I want to become the blanks. And that's how you build the word bank. But my little hint here is that this will be graded. And if they put Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, which is just as correct, it will be counted wrong because it's not in the same order that I did it. So if I have something like this, I'm very careful that it's sequential. Greatest to large, smallest, dates or something. So you just have to keep that in mind. So you can see, add content, add activities. It is the same step. This memory test is for like kindergartners and such. Now, remember all these slides I've been adding are down here at the bottom, and I just drag and drop them up to my, where I want them in the slide. Now, the question we get asked the most, and this is the one you're going to be most interested in, is, now how do I get the code? How do I launch a lesson? So here's my lesson that we just made. If I click here on live participation, I will get a code. And that's the code the students need. And you can put that code in to your Google Classroom or whatever you're using. You can give it to students orally if you need to. And if I'm doing student paste, it's the same thing. I click on student paste. I get a, it's a different lesson, so I get a different code. If I just want them to go through it, I don't know. I always would have that turned on by default. And I can view their progress. I can send it to them by email. I can do the link. I can embed, whatever. So I'm right on 131, but I do want to take time. Is there any other questions and all? As I said, this is a great tool for you to use. So I'm going to stop the share and and I think I'll stop the recording.